John Sunbolt, Kevin Harlan, Jeff Boschee has scored for the Jayhawks, who lead it 2-0, and a rebound by Drew Gooden. Kansas coming in 24-2. Nebraska 12 up and 12 down.
Cornhuskers have to get back defensively. Kansas off to a hot start again. Boschee with the layup to start it. Gooden from the outside, top of the key.
Drew Gooden is averaging 20 points a game. He has had a terrific season. And here's John Robinson working on Boschee, firing a pass outside. And a nice shot taken by Brian Conklin.
And how quickly this Kansas team will convert. Great pass by Miles. Aaron Miles may not get as much attention and credit for how well he has played this season as a freshman.
So a quick 6-0 lead for Kansas. And a shot outside, a three by Kerry Cohorn. And Heinrich inside loses the ball. Muehlheisen.
Nebraska, a team that relies on the long jump shots. They will hit it inside, outside, and they fire away.
Cohorn with the miss. Miles almost had it, retrieved by Muehlheisen.
5th in the country at 3 points made per game at nearly 9.5. And that's what it does. It spreads the floor open.
So Nebraska on a 5-0 run. Drew Gooden with the miss. Collison had it, lost it inside, picked up by Robinson in the foot race with Boschee. And Muehlheisen for three. And a rebound by Heinrich.
They are not slowing it down, are they, partner?
They like to run it. Miles into Gooden, who's taken a couple outside shots. And a rebound by Conklin.
Well, I believe Barry Collier knows at his ball club, if you get into half-court sets, this Kansas team is difficult to score against. So they'd like to push it, see if they can get more open shots.
Nice defense by Collison. Ahead it goes to Miles, who gets a Gooden screen. And on top to Collison, a great shooter who maneuvers inside for the mid-range, gets his own miss, and a rebound by Robinson.
Cohorn, Muehlheisen, and Conklin are the shooters. Conklin surprised you at 6'11". He will step out. He has hit 11 threes in his last 2 ball games.
Great pass inside to Muehlheisen.
Good back screen by Conklin. Gooden did not help out.
Here's Jeff Boschee. He hit 4 3-point shots the other night against Iowa State. And Muehlheisen is on him.
Nebraska has stayed man-to-man. They will predominantly stay in that all afternoon.
And how has Kansas responded to man-to-man defense
well,
this year?
Good motion offense. They have put big numbers up in Big 12 play. 5 of the last 7, they've gone over 100 points. They lead the country in scoring at nearly 93 a game, shooting 52% from the field as a team.
Robinson with Boschee guarding him. Looking inside for Turek, who calls a timeout wisely. He was on all fours and had no choice but that. So Kansas has 6 from Drew Gooden, leading 8-7 over Nebraska. Gooden, Collison, Heinrich, Miles, and Boschee for Nebraska. Turek, Conklin, Robinson, Kerry Cohorn, and Muehlheisen. So 3-point shooting, that will be the key. Kevin Harlan alongside John Sunbolt. Can they keep the pace? Can Nebraska hold on?
Well, keys obviously make all their shots from the outside and do not turn the ball over. This Nebraska team does not turn it over very often, only 11 a game. They have to keep it out of this Kansas ball club's hand.
Neither team has made it.
And there's a costly turnover.
Here comes Heinrich down the lane and finds 2, and Nebraska is not a team to turn the ball over.
Just what we were talking about. This Kansas team, the most opportunistic probably in the country at converting from one end to the other, and they get there in a hurry.
And he stepped out of bounds, did Jake Muehlheisen, the freshman from Lincoln. Kansas has been #1 for a while, and they'll try to defend that today. Langford is in now for the first time. Collison with Boschee, Heinrich, and Gooden, and the shot short by Boschee. Gooden there to clean it up and put it in.
How quickly Gooden and Collison react to offensive boards.
Gooden now has 8 points.
Got to put a body on him.
Heinrich picks up the foul, trying to cut in front of Cohorn. And that's the first on Heinrich, who is having a terrific season. Timeout taken. The Jayhawks have led by 6, now up by 5, 12-7 in Lincoln.
CBS Sports coverage of the road to the Final Four is sponsored by Pontiac. What would you do with some Pontiac excitement? Autotrader.com. New or used, buying or selling, it's the ultimate in automotive classifieds. And by DirecTV, the #1 digital satellite entertainment provider.
#1 Kansas has 8 points from Gooden, leading 12-7. Jayhawks led 6-0. Nebraska followed on a 7-0 run. Now the Jayhawks on another 6-0 run, shooting 55% from the field.
And turnovers, costly already, a couple by Nebraska. Converted by this Jayhawk team on the offensive end.
Miles on the bench. Langford remains in the game. Another foul on Heinrich, and he has his second. And that is a story now for Kansas. And Thursday on CBS, America's #1 reality show is going back to the beach for the greatest adventure of them all. 16 new castaways will have to find their own food, their own water, make their own fire. Don't miss the premiere of Survivor Marquesas Thursday here on CBS. Kevin Harlan and John Sunbold in Lincoln.
We'll see if John Robinson drives it on Heinrich. 2 fouls. See if they can get a third before he comes out of the game. Looks like Aaron Miles will check in.
Collison with the rebound. That is his second. Here comes Heinrich, swerving the other way. Collison into Gooden, and he's got 10.
Good pass, good catch. Throw it up high. Let Gooden go and get it. 10 points early. Having no problem scoring at the rim. This Cornhusker team is going to have to shore it up defensively.
Muehlheisen down the lane.
I like that.
Scoops it up by the freshman Langford.
Nebraska will run a high screen and roll, and if Muehlheisen can turn the corner, he can finish.
Gooden again. Point blank range.
They've got to find a matchup. They are allowing Gooden to simply roam offensively. You take a look, 12 points. And when he has the freedom to roam and find his openings, he will do some damage.
Here's Turek working inside on Collison, and outside it goes for Conklin, who is 6'11", and a great three-point shooter. That goes over the backboard and out of bounds. And Roy Williams in his 14th year as the Jayhawks head coach, 51-year-old coach with 379 wins coming into today. And Barry Collier in his second season. He took Butler to 3 NCAA tournament games in his 11 years there. And here's Gooden again.
And you will remember Barry Collier's ball club, that Butler team that lost at the buzzer to Florida. Mike Miller hit that buzzer, which ignited Florida onto the championship game against Michigan State in 2000.
Ryan Conklin knocks in a shot. He has been over 50% from three-point range the last 3 games. Collison to Boshi, 4-point game. Miles back in and misses with a rebound by Cohorn.
Kansas a little flat on their jump shots. They've been effective inside, but shooters outside have not been able to get the ball to the rim.
Oh, goodness, turn by John Turner. So Heinrich is out with 2 fouls. Miles tries to force the issue. Langford bumped by Muehlheisen, who picks up a foul.
A little special twist by the freshman Turek. Instead of simply going straight-handed, good penetration, good move by Clemens. And the putback. Oh, good way to get this crowd involved.
Now Wayne Simeon will check in for Collison for Kansas. Clemens has come in for Nebraska. He is a good one. Clemens is from Indianapolis. And now they bring in the Nebraska football player, Wilson Thomas. He takes the place of Turk.
Yeah, Wayne Simeon offensively. Powerful down low. Got a soft touch facing the basket.
And he's been shooting great. 24 of his last 37 from the field over the last couple games.
Well, a player that would start on probably 75% of the teams in this country, let alone the Big 12 Conference.
What a luxury to bring freshmen off your bench and have them perform like upperclassmen.
Well, Simeon, again, playing behind Gooden and Collison, but he gets to bang with them day in and day out of practice.
Miles. Brett Ballard is in the game now for Kansas as Gooden, who's got 12 over Conklin.
Good defense.
Muehlheisen with the rebound.
And they want to push, find their open shooters.
Kansas out there with 2 freshmen, Gooden the junior, Boshi the senior. And Brett Ballard is out there for Kansas. He is a senior. Clemens. Good screen by Conklin for Cohorn.
Good set play, good patience by this Cornhusker team. Once they get in a half-court set, they must be efficient.
Nebraska's on an 8-0 run. Wayne Simeon. And a rebound by Clemens.
Kevin, every jump shot has been short. Front iron.
Conklin. Inside to Thomas. And a foul call on the freshman Simeon.
Foul is out of 23. Wayne Simeon, his first personal foul, 15 foul.
Wilson Thomas, the leading receiver on the Cornhusker football team. Powerful inside. Started a couple ball games against Missouri and Iowa State. Now back off the bench. Turek was injured with an ankle problem, allowed Wilson Thomas to start those ball games. In his first start against Missouri, had a double-double, 11 points, 11 rebounds.
Both teams this afternoon shooting about 50% from the field, and the NCAA tournament is right around the corner. Where will your team be seated? Check out Projecting the Seeds at cbs.sportsline.com. For America Online users, enter keyword CBS Sportsline. 10-0 run by Nebraska. A 3-point lead is their biggest today. Here comes Ballard, a screen by Gooden, and inside for Simeon. And that was pretty with the reverse.
Watching Nebraska defensively, they are bodying the screeners for Kansas. So Kansas has not been able to get good enough screens on the shooters coming outside.
How physical a team is Nebraska?
Well, they're not a big physical, strong team. And Barry Collier will say, hey, we just have to do the best we can on an afternoon like this one.
A steal by Miles, who races the other way. And a rebound by Sims, new in the game for Nebraska. Corey Sims, a freshman from St. Louis, with the ball.
Observing now, Nebraska has to keep forcing this Kansas team to shoot jump shots. Keep them out of the paint. Clemens, a strong finisher, strong point guard.
And Sims tries to carve some room. Rebound by Ballard. Nebraska leading by 1 with 8 minutes gone here in the first half. It's good. Nice pass to a wide open Ballard for 3, and a rebound by Sims. How about the Nebraska bench?
They've got enough bodies that will come in. Barry Collier will play 10 or 11 people. They keep fresh unit all the time. Allows the shooters to be fresh athletically. Another turnover, terrific steal by Gooden.
They'll come galloping the other way. Miles again. Finally hits a shot. He is 1 of 3. And gives the Jayhawks another 1-point lead. Kansas is led by as many as 6.
The versatility of Drew Gooden at 6'10", 6'11", simply makes the steal, brings it up himself. All 4 teammates can run the floor.
Inside, a Nebraska foul. Simeon took it hard.
Brennan Clemens at time will get out of control. Again, a powerful point guard, likes to finish and take it to the rim. Good job by Simeon to get in the way.
The Jayhawks have won at least a share of the Big 12 title, their first since '98. We got a timeout. Kansas has 12. Jayhawks on top by 1. Over Nebraska moments ago, Kerry Cohorn, the senior from Minden, Iowa, went over 1,000 points in his Nebraska career, the 23rd Cornhusker to do so. He has 2 of Nebraska's 3 three-point hits so far in the game.
248 three-pointers he's made, a Nebraska record, breaking Eric Pikowski's number at 202. Good steal.
Heinrich is back in with the ball, playing with 2 fouls. A floater falls inside.
Tough shot. Good touch by Heinrich. Must be careful, though, when he goes in the hole and shoots a floater, that a defender doesn't step in his way and take a charge.
Kansas with 3 freshmen on the floor. 10:38 to play in the first half. Here comes Thomas to Hymos. Clemens, and outside to Robinson. That is the 4th three-point shot for Nebraska, and they've tied the game at 22.
Good ball movement.
Screen by Simeon. Opens the door for Heinrich, and a rebound by Sims. Clemens. Nice feed outside Robinson. Another 3. Thomas fighting for the rebound. Claimed by Heinrich, and ahead it goes to Miles in mid-stride. To the trailing Simeon, who lost it inside. And a foul.
Open opportunities for Nebraska. John Robinson missed one that he will normally make.
So we're tied at 22. It's Gold Medal Monday. Experience world-class comedy at its funniest with an all-new episode of King of Queens. Also, yesterday, Monday's #1 comedy, Everybody Loves Raymond and Becker, starring Ted Danson, plus an all-new Family Law. It's all here on CBS Gold Medal Monday. Kansas from the free throw line, their best mark in about 10 years, John, 70% as a team.
Well, solid Wayne Simeon at 75. Again, they have 7 players that come in. They can all score. They handle the ball well. They average over 21 assists a ball game, which leads this conference. Unselfish team.
Sims to Johnson, who goes by Langford. Langford held on and drew the foul. And that's the first for the freshman from Fort Worth. Jayhawks on top by 1. Their lead has been as big as 7. Nebraska has led by as many as 3. Both teams shooting about 47% from the floor. Kansas has not knocked down a 3-point shot this afternoon. It was tipped. Kansas has not lost a conference road game since mid last season. Nice knock away by Langford. All ball. Shot clock at 24 seconds.
And I'm surprised Brennan Clemens, when he has the ball and Heinrich on him, why he is not more aggressive. Take a look defensively by Keith Langford, another of the freshmen coming from behind. Good play, but good help defense by Collison.
Robinson. And outside for Clemens, coming off a career high 23 points against Texas A&M on Wednesday. Langford slithers down the lane and lost the ball, but got it back. Miles, Simeon inside, a nimble move, and a foul called on Nebraska inside.
You mentioned Brennan Clemens coming off 23 against A&M on Wednesday. He has been a guy that has provided a spark from the sideline. Coming off the bench, shoots it, takes it strong to the hole.
Boshi will come in for Langford. Langford with the 1 foul. The only Jayhawk in foul trouble. Heinrich with 2. And no one in foul trouble as of yet for Nebraska. Collison back in, gets the feed from Heinrich. Nice spin, won't produce anything. Turk is there with the rebound.
Will not miss many of those. Collison as good as any on the low block.
He's a 61% shooter, number 5 in the country.
Well, terrific at making moves and great at finishing the play. Good block, good help defense.
Blocked by Collison, picked up by Miles. He stepped out of bounds.
Good help side again defensively, though. Nick Collison comes from across the lane to make the block.
Compare Miles as a freshman starting point guard to Jacques Vaughn as a starting freshman point guard for Kansas.
Well, very similar, 2 different individuals, but very similar type play. They're smart, they run the show. Aaron Miles probably doesn't get enough credit as he should. He is close to breaking Jacques Vaughn's freshman record, only needs 10 assists this afternoon. In a win at Texas, he had 13 assists, only 2 turnovers. In conference play, 4 assists to 1 turnover ratio. That's great for a senior, let alone freshman.
Conklin back in, missed that shot. Here comes Miles. 8:44 to play in the first half. Miles missing right there. He has started 1 of 4. 2-on-2. Robinson right into Boshi, knocked it away. Heinrich the other way. And look at him fly. As fast a college player as you'll see in the country from baseline to baseline, and fouled right there on the play by John Turek.
And no hesitation. He makes something happen even when it's not there.
I mean, have you seen anyone as fast as
Well, no,
him?
and he can simply sometimes make a secondary break into a primary break. I mean, he simply takes it. Now watch, there aren't numbers for him, but he keeps going and pushing. Nebraska all of a sudden got caught looking, and they got late to the basket.
Nebraska, John, is going to set a team record for the least amount of turnovers in a season. Already they've got 6 to the Jayhawks. 1 turnover in the game as Thomas comes back in the game for Nebraska.
They only average 11 a ball game, lowest in the Big 12 Conference. They take care of the basketball. 6 for them so far early with 8:33 left. A big number.
Cohorn will check back in the game. Sims will take a breather. Points off turnovers. So far, Kansas 10, Nebraska 2.
And not surprisingly, this Kansas team leads this league in steals at over 10 a ball game. They're active with their hands. They will trap in different situations. You've got to be ready for it if you're a ball handler for the Cornhuskers.
Drive for Clemens.
Active hands.
By Heinrich, you're right again, and he'll float in and slam it down.
I think it was Simeon that got his hand on the pass. As Clemens made the pass, Wayne Simeon knocked it away.
Kansas 12 fast break points, Nebraska none. The Jayhawks lead by 2. They've led by 7. They're shooting 46% from the field. And yet no threes by KU so far. Nebraska's got 5. Spoon feeding inside. It's Robinson now outside to Clemens. And a rebound by Miles. And again to Boshi. 2. And a rebound inside by Clemens.
Now the shooting again. Struggling from the outside, this Kansas team. But they're scoring at the rim.
Nebraska +4 in rebounding in the game. Cohorn. Into Robinson with the seductive fake. Conklin, they swing it around. Clemens for three. And Nebraska, John, and you said this, has to hit the three-point shot. They've nailed 6 already.
When you play against this Kansas team, Kevin, you must make the extra pass. You think you're open, but swing the ball one more time. Nebraska is doing that and finding the open shooter.
Collison had been 0 of 3 until that hit right there. And they need him to score.
You will do most of his work inside, but a good face-up shooter. Not a good free throw shooter, but facing up in the flow of the game, he makes more shots.
He's only about 55% from the free throw line. Robinson, shot clock at 14. The drive on Boshi, and the ball knocked away. 13 on the shot clock, and 6:41 to play in the first half. 6 three-point shots by Nebraska, staying close with #1 Kansas in Lincoln.
29-28 the Jayhawks, and you take a look at the numbers. Field goes high, but the big difference in the three-point field goal. 6 of 11 for Nebraska. Kansas has struggled shooting the ball from the perimeter, but the big difference for them, the points off the turnovers. 12 versus 2.
Nebraska's knocked down 6 three-point shots. Drew Gooden is back in the game. He's been out for a while, but he last scored his 12th point with 15 minutes remaining in the first half. He's out there with Langford, Collison, Boshi, and Miles. That's the Kansas 5. Conklin is out there with Robinson. Milheisen back in. Thomas is in. Cohorn.
Oh, good pass.
Back to Robinson. Oh, what a pass by Cohorn.
Wow. Nebraska team works hard to get their shooters open. Good sets they're running.
Collison quickly doubled inside. He was in a handcuff, and it's taken now by Robinson. Langford is on Milheisen. Nebraska is shooting 45%.
Milheisen, another terrific point guard freshman in this conference. Good outside shooter, good with the ball, good size. Another good pass, good cut.
I think Gooden may have tripped on the floor, and thus with that was the open man.
And that is created because Conklin is such a good outside shooter that Gooden was trailing him the whole way. That Conklin cut to the basket, found an opening.
Nebraska equals their biggest lead. Collison travels. And Kansas turns it over for a 3rd time.
Let's take a look at the passing. Watch John Robinson cut hard. Terrific pass by Kerry Cohorn. And Nebraska, again, in their patient offensive sets, they will leave everything open towards a basket. They space it out. Conklin makes a simple cut. No Kansas Jayhawk there defensively.
Senior Jeff Carey has come in for Kansas. Heinrich and Collison, Simeon all on the bench for the Jayhawks. And here is Cohorn to Robinson with a whistle away from the ball. And it's on Conklin. And a foul on Nebraska tonight on 60 Minutes. Still left to be judged at the Olympics was the showering of gifts and cash on IOC officials, a jailable offense or just par for the course tonight. On 60 Minutes from Lincoln, Kevin Harlan and John Sunvold. They've got Langford at the free throw line. The longer a team like, John, I'm assuming Nebraska stays in against a #1 team like Kansas, the more confidence they gain.
Well, you're right. And you've got the home crowd feeling good. And this is where you cannot make mistakes. So a missed free throw, you do not come up with the ball. Kansas 3 opportunities that time.
Kansas from the free throw line today, 3 of 5. Nebraska 2 of 4.
Where Nebraska has struggled this season, Kevin, is when they do not shoot the ball well and they do not rebound the ball well. Well, this afternoon they are shooting it from the outside, 55% from the three-point line. But they have to continue to rebound with this bigger, faster Kansas team.
For 72% from the free throw line, his season high, his career high, 19 points in that big Jayhawk win down in Tucson against Arizona earlier in the season. That hurts him right there. He misses, and so it's 32-29. Nebraska equaling their biggest lead. Milheisen and Robinson out there with Thomas, Cohorn, and Conklin.
When they don't have anything, now they run sets. They work hard again to get their shooters open, and here's one right here.
Conklin, a three.
You can see the confidence in the faces of this Cornhusker team.
They've got a 6-point lead, which is their biggest this afternoon. Nebraska on a 7-0 run over #1 ranked Kansas. It's good. Nice fake on Conklin with the drive and a foul inside. A seductive fake by Gooden will send him to the stripe with his team down by 6.
We talked about the sets, and you're going to see as they move the basketball, Conklin number 20 down low, back screen on him. Drew Gooden getting lost. Can't do that against that guy. He is too good of a face-up shooter.
John, does Nebraska approach this game in a series of 35-second clocks and just take it in seconds as opposed to 10-minute stretches or half?
And they
stretches?
have to. And the reason they have to is because, and some people say, well, they'll slow down every possession. Not necessarily true. They will push it. They have good shooters. If they find an opening, they will shoot it. If not, they run those sets. They get their shooters open. And the key is obviously making shots, 58% from the three-point line.
Thomas drew the foul. Nebraska did beat a ranked team earlier this season, got by Bobby Knight and Texas Tech.
They're great equalizers at three-point line. And if you shoot a lot of them and you shoot a high percentage, you're going to stay in most ball games.
Cohorn, the #1 scorer in the history of Iowa high school basketball. Over 1,000 points in his career earlier this afternoon. Under 5 to play in the first half. Robinson against the tenacious defense of Boshi. Conklin with Gooden on him, doubled by Miles. Wide open outside. Muhleisen's 3 and a rebound by Miles.
Well, Miles got away with making maybe a mistake. He went for the steal, didn't come up with it, but Muhleisen missed one for him.
Gooden has not scored from the field since the 15-minute mark of the first half. An outside shot will not go. Gooden had 12 points, but all in the first 5 minutes of the game. He's got 14 now with 2 free throws.
Pretty good pace to this game, too. There will be some tired bodies. Nebraska plays a number of guys, 10 or 11. Kansas usually stays with 8. Oh, what a shot
by Heinrich. And he has not shot well from the field, John. 8 of 21 over the last couple games. Coming into this afternoon today, 4 of 5.
And Heinrich in constant motion on the offensive end. Never stops, never watches. Continues. I think that banked in the top corner. Oh.
That is a bank 3 from the corner. An incredible shot. Nebraska on top by 5. They've led by 6. They've hit 8 3-point shots. Oh, Gooden reels it in. Boshi for 3. And he gets his own miss.
Boshi has not had many open looks.
Miles inside. What a move.
Gooden keeping that ball alive. On the floor, Nebraska thought they had a chance to get it.
Like he had a string in it, reeling it back in. Nebraska 12 up and 12 down overall. Kansas has not lost a conference road game since last year. What a great drive inside by freshman Jake Muhleisen. He's got 8. Miles doing the same at the other end. Knocked away and a foul called on the Huskers. And Robinson was reaching in and picks it up for Nebraska.
2 freshman guards, Muhleisen and Miles, will go at each other in this whole ball game. Jake Muhleisen, 6'4", from right here in Lincoln, Nebraska, Southeast High School. Good player, solid player. Reminds me a lot of Jeff Hornacek, the former Iowa State great. Played the NBA, roughly, what, 13, 15 years?
Finished up last year with Utah.
Muhleisen's a good standstill shooter, pretty good off the dribble. Has good size. When you're 6'4", 190, that's a terrific size to be in this game.
You mentioned that before. 6'4" is about a perfect size.
Yeah, it is for a guard.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're quick enough to handle it, that puts you at a good size to jump over people to shoot it.
Collison back in with Simeon, Heinrich, Miles, and Boshi. Clemens in for Nebraska, and a timeout taken by the Huskers, who lead #1 Kansas in Lincoln, 40-37. And tonight on the CBS Sunday movie, Rosa Parks' true life story has never been told until now. Oscar nominee Angela Bassett and Emmy winner Cicely Tyson star in the Rosa Parks story tonight here on CBS. With John Sunbold, Kevin Harlan coming up on the Singular at the half. Greg Gumbel will let you find out what's going on today in a busy day of college basketball and how the NCAA tournament field is shaping up. The Singular at the half next here on CBS. 8 3-point shots by Nebraska. They lead Kansas 40-37. Hawks have led by as many as 7. Nebraska has led by as many as 6. And a drive inside by the Huskers, Jake Muhleisen, and a foul called on Kansas. And Collison was the guilty party.
Good movement, and again, because they play outside, there will be avenues to put it on the floor and get it to the rim. The ability of Conklin at 6'11" to shoot it draws big players away, so guys like Jake Muehlheisen confident to take it to the rim, knowing that a big guy's going to be chasing from the outside.
John, you sit and watch this Nebraska team. Kansas beat Nebraska in the first meeting January 9th by 39 points. It wasn't even close, and Kansas, ironically enough, was #1 at that same time, too.
Well, led by 32 at half, Kansas made 11 of their first 13 shots that ballgame. This Nebraska team has continued to get better this season. Picked to finish last in this league, and they're sitting at 7th place.
Heinrich looking inside for Simeon. Stolen by Muehlheisen. Clemens is out there. Cohorn is out there. Conklin and Birkendahl. Two minutes to play now in the first half, with the top-ranked Jayhawks down by 4. Running down that clock.
Yeah, good patience again. You don't have anything, work the ball, get shooters like Cohorn open.
A 3. And a rebound again by Heinrich, who has lassoed 4 in this first half. Into Clemens, veering outside. Here comes Collison. The drive down the lane, and he finds it. Collison, 2 of 5 shooting this afternoon. Kansas 44% from the field. Nebraska 48%. Jayhawks 0 of 3 shooting threes. And Clemens inside. A rebound by Collison. He's got 4. And Kansas +2 in rebounding this afternoon. Collison. Boshi. And now to Heinrich with the Boshi screen. Heinrich today 4 of 6. Muehlheisen rebound.
I think Kansas is getting the shots they normally make. This is a team that shoots 52% from the field. They have made the ones inside the paint. They have missed those outside.
Here's Clemens. Off to Cohorn, and Heinrich is right there. Heinrich, a great perimeter defender.
Outstanding. He normally guards the top scorer for the opposition. Doesn't matter what side.
Conklin will float down the baseline, and Brett Ballard snares the rebound. And a timeout for Kansas.
30-second timeout called by the Jayhawks. Your attention, please. Rocky Chad, please go to the
Kansas has won 11 consecutive games coming into this afternoon, but they trailed a good deal of the first half to Nebraska. 8 3-point hits by Nebraska. They lead by 2.
Barry Collier in his second season at Nebraska lost 70% of their offense from a year ago. 11 years at Butler, 9 of 10 winning seasons, 9 of the last 10. He has done a nice job this season at getting this team together and staying together and staying focused. It's a better team than it was a year ago.
Drew Gooden is in the game. He has not scored from the field since the 15-minute mark of the first half. He had 12 points in the first 5 minutes. Since then, only 2 free throws for a total of 14.
And when he catches in the paint, he will be double teamed in a hurry. Saw where Kansas only shooting 43% this afternoon.
Ryan Nash in the game with Miles, Gooden, Ballard, and Boshi.
Jayhawks now spreading the floor a little bit. Shot clock's running down. Only 17 left in the half. 10 seconds on the shot clock.
5 seconds difference. Miles tries to make a move. Here's Gooden.
That's a tough shot.
Hitting his first shot since the 15-minute mark.
Buckendahl all over him. 6 seconds now for Muehlheisen.
Oh, great screen by Buckendahl, and good if it goes. It's short, and that takes us to halftime. So Kansas down at one time by 6, comes back to tie, and a standing ovation in the capacity-filled Devaney Center here in Lincoln, Nebraska. That's the end of the first half. We're tied at 41. Now to Frank Gumbel in our CBS studios in New York.
All right, thanks, Kevin. Coming up on Singular at the half, scores and highlights, and we'll preview the NCAA tournament, predict some top seeds, tell you who's on the bubble, and who might play Cinderella. That's all coming your way after this message and a word from your local station.
Dave Bomb, more evolved skincare. And by AT&T Long Distance. Let your long distance be unlimited.
9 lead changes. No team has led by more than 7. Yep, we're tied. #1 ranked Kansas and Nebraska. The last time, I'll make sure I got my notes. Maybe you
that's got to be wrong.
Nebraska beat a #1 ranked team.
Let's see.
1982 in Columbia, Missouri.
Maybe against Missouri Tigers.
That's right.
I was part of that ball club, folks. It can happen.
Do they have a chance?
They do have a chance. The key to the start of this second half, Kansas always makes a run and makes a flurry. 20-2 run, 15-0 run. Nebraska has to handle the ball, continue to move on the sets on the offensive end, knock in their threes. They hit 8 in the first half.
8 3-point shots. Kansas did not hit a single 3-point shot in that first half. As you can see, field goal percentage about the same, much like the score, rebounding in the same neighborhood. But the fast break points and points off turnovers clearly in favor of the Jayhawks.
Well, we go really right there to that 8 for 16 to 3-point field goals, and that makes this game even.
Nebraska scored only 1 point in the last 2 minutes and 55 seconds of the first half, missing their last 4 shots from the field. And the numbers on Drew Gooden, who came out on fire with 12 points in the first 5 minutes. Another note about Nebraska, 11-3 at home, but they are 10-1 this season when leading or tied at halftime. So we'll see what happens. Boshi, Gooden, Collison, Heinrich, and Miles for KU.
And again, Nebraska cannot be content going into the locker room, come back out of halftime at being tied. They've got to expect Kansas's best right here early in this second half.
Conklin, Turek, Cohorn, Robinson, Muehlheisen with the ball, and our second half is underway as they go inside to Turek, and Muehlheisen for 3 with the rebound by Turek inside, and spins out of coverage, and another 3 thrown up. Cohorn. And that's
Good
2
save.
missed threes, yeah, to begin the second half for Nebraska.
And 2 open opportunities, and Kansas normally makes you pay.
And the Jayhawks have the lead, and they made him pay right there with the 3 ball from Heinrich.
Well, Turek, terrific offensive rebound, but Nebraska has to capitalize. They can't force a quick 3 if they don't have it.
Heinrich 5 of 7 shooting from the floor this afternoon.
Still has 2 fouls. Picks those up early in the first half.
Good. You're right. Robinson. Boshi is there. 3. And 0 of 3 shooting the triple.
And you can get that 3 at any time you want to. That's simply a one-on-one. He shoots it. You might as well work the ball, get some open picks, because this Kansas team on the other end will bury you if you're not smart yourself.
And Boshi hits his first 3 of the game. So the Jayhawks come out on fire, 6-0 to start things in the second half of Lincoln. Kansas has hit 2 threes to begin the second half. With the conclusion of today's game, we will select the Chevrolet MVP. From each team, Chevrolet will make a contribution to each school's general scholarship fund, a tradition for 30 years. Kevin Harlan, John Sunbold in Lincoln. And 3 missed 3-point shots by Nebraska to begin the second half.
And 2 made on the other end by Kansas to start the second half for them.
Muehlheisen, Turek inside, trying to work on the block, and Collison is there. A little 2-man game, Muehlheisen and Turek.
Good step. Good patience, inside, outside. Turek didn't have it the first time. Put it back out and reestablished himself.
Here comes Gooden. He's got 16. Miles fires it inside to Collison. What a shot.
Pretty good matchup with Collison and Turek inside. Both guys good on the low block. Collison a little more polished now in his junior season.
Collison's got 4 rebounds, 6 points from the field, 3 of 6 this afternoon. Screen by Turek. What a rejection by Collison, who retrieves the ball and stepped out of bounds. And Nebraska gets it back, but he was blocked, yet he still blocked the shot.
Good set screen. They knocked off Gooden, which Conklin was allowed to get around. Let's take a look at the basket by Collison inside. You know, Collison has really helped out defensively all afternoon. Away from his man.
Kansas has
Making
4
plays.
blocked shots, Nebraska none. And that shot won't go. A Nebraska rebound. They drive inside with Turek. And he has played aggressively.
Yeah, he leads this team in block shots and rebounds. We mentioned the 2 ball games against Missouri at home. They lost, Nebraska did. Then they traveled to Iowa State and lost. Turek missed both of those with the ankle problem. Came back and played against A&M, and now has been solid in this ball game.
John, Kansas trying to become the first team in the brief history of the Big 12 to go undefeated in league play. Several teams did it in the old Big 8. How hard is that to do for a team?
Well, it's so difficult, and whether you stub your toe at home or on the road, you're going to have off nights or off afternoons if you can get through it. The key for Kansas so far this season has been the fact that they have 7 guys that can score. Kirk Heinrich picks up his 3rd. and someone has picked up the slack. Now, they have not had many bad ball games. Iowa State in Ames had a chance to beat this Kansas team. Even ball game, missed a couple free throws down the stretch. Jeff Boschee made a big jump shot to really win that game for him.
Langford comes in for Heinrich. Here comes Gooden. And a rebound, volleyballed inside. A good-looking rebound by Robinson. Quickly triggers to Cohorn at the other end. And Conklin. And Robinson. 17.5 to play in regulation here in Lincoln. Muehlheisen with Robinson working the clock a little bit more, and that ball may have been deflected, but it still goes in for a miraculous three by Cohorn. What a shot!
And Cohorn, the catch and the release as 6'10" Gooden chased.
Collison finishes at the other end for two. Number 1, Kansas has trailed by as many as 6. They've led by as many as 7. We were tied at halftime at 41. Robinson down the lane. Whacked by Collison. Boschee was there. And a foul called on Kansas. 11 consecutive wins for the top-ranked Jayhawks. Nebraska comes in with a .500 record of 12-12. Nebraska, John Sunbold, with 8 3-point shots in the first half for Coach Barry Collier.
Well, plenty of on-ball screens, and they've been able to turn the corner. And then as this Kansas team helps and recovers the pitch out, the shooters have knocked in shots. They now have 9 on the ball game.
Drew Gooden for Kansas, 16 points. Heinrich has 13 points, but he's on the Kansas bench. Now he gets off. He's got 3 fouls. He'll take the place of Boschee, and for Nebraska, 11 for Kerry Conklin, who is a wonderful outside shooter. And Robinson hits. Kansas beat Nebraska earlier this season in Lawrence by 39. They've trailed a good part of the first half here this afternoon. Miles.
Boy, look at the attention that Gooden draws inside. They're backing off Miles. Looks like a travel. Gooden catches. You have 3 Nebraska jerseys around him. He's got to kick it back out. Aaron Miles has wide open looks.
Kansas only 5 turnovers, and Nebraska has 7. So number 1 Kansas, John, being pushed here in Lincoln this afternoon.
Again, Nebraska has to stay with what they're doing on the offensive end, and here's one of the reasons. Wow, it's deep.
Harry Cohorn outside with a 3, his 4th 3-point shot this afternoon. And Nebraska has tied it. Here's Gooden. Could be the college player of the year. He and Jason Williams may be the 2 finalists. Miles for 3. And a rebound snared inside by Muehlheisen. A foul called on Collison of Kansas.
Ball movement, body movement, and if you can free up your shooters, Kansas went to a 2-3 zone. Cohorn can stretch it to really any length. You've got to stay in his face.
John, 10 3-point shots for Nebraska in this game.
Well, the most they have made this season. 15 against the University of Texas on the road. They nearly beat the Longhorn. Another
Cohorn
one
again.
They go to the zone. You've got to find the best shooter.
And Langford the other way. Nebraska up by 3. Here comes Gooden out to the freshman Miles. Miles with a snake-like move down the lane with a foul called on the Huskers.
Does Cohorn have some range or what?
He's hot.
Wow.
He is the all-time leading high school scorer in the state of Iowa, as we told you before. And earlier in the game, he went over 1,000 points in his Nebraska career. He is a senior. He has never beaten KU.
And the key to his shot, in fact, he's only 6'1". He leans back a little bit, arches his back backwards. It's not quite a fadeaway, but what that does is allows the arc to be a little higher. Any guy running after him, he gets it over the top of the fingertips. And again, the range is unlimited. He just keeps backing up.
They have some pretty good 3-point shooters here in the history of Nebraska basketball. CBS Sports coverage of NCAA men's basketball will continue after this message and word from the local station. When the Kansas Jayhawks took the floor against UCLA earlier this season, they were the number 1 team in the country. UCLA forward Matt Barnes went 10 of 14 from the field, but Kansas loses 87-77. They are 11-0 since. Nebraska has not beaten a #1 ranked team since 1982. And ironically enough, my partner today, John Sunville, was on that Missouri Tiger team in Columbia.
My coach, I was on that team. My coach might say I wasn't there that night, but West Nebraska team playing outstanding this afternoon.
Brian Conklin inside.
Wow. You know what? The patience by Turek to keep the basketball, wait, draw the double team, and Brian Conklin, face-up shooter, knocks in another one.
Here's Simeon.
You've got a feel in this arena right now, Kevin.
Heinrich. Nebraska on top by 4. Gooden with 16. And a rebound by Turek. Kansas is shooting 46%. Nebraska 45%. But Nebraska has nailed 12 three-point shots.
Good job by Robinson. Pull the ball back out. Neuheis in the high screen and roll.
With the try.
He loves it. He loves to turn the corner, and if you help from the wing, he's got Cohorn standing outside.
And this equals Nebraska's biggest lead today against Kansas. Miles stripped by Robinson. Out to Cohorn. Into Heinrich and the drive. And Heinrich may have picked up his 4th foul for Kansas.
Smart play by Kerry Cohorn. You turn the corner up top and you see who's coming. Nobody comes. Heinrich's late. If Heinrich would have been there on time, that means Cohorn has a hit. So Heinrich has to stay put. Cohorn, smart play, though, attacked Heinrich that time.
Nebraska from the free throw line this afternoon. 6 of 11. Kansas 9 of 13.
Kerry Cohorn, 3rd ranked free throw shooter in the country, 92.6%. Automatic from the line.
So now Heinrich and Collison are out for Kansas. Simeon, the freshman, is in with Boshi. Langford, the freshman from Texas. Miles, a freshman. And here's Langford. And Gooden remains in the game, feeding inside to Miles.
That's unselfish play by Gooden. Had a little jumper, gave it up for a layup.
Miles has 10. Cohorn. 5 3-point hits. And Wilson Thomas, who played football for the Huskers, saves it inside. Robinson for 3 again.
Wow. Kevin, they're not turning the ball over, and they are knocking. 3-pointers in, the 13th of the afternoon.
Now Nebraska with the lead of 64-55. Their biggest Gooden can't get it to go. Inside, saved by Nebraska. Here comes Robinson, 4-on-2. Cohorn for 3.
Why not?
Nebraska has 6 3-point shots. The Huskers have hit 14 3-point shots today. And this crowd is in full frenzy. One of the largest in the history of the building, over 14,000. And #1 ranked Kansas, the #1 scoring team in college basketball. The #1 shooting team in the country. Down 67-55.
And no easy looks for this Jayhawk team. Good defense again that time by the Cornhuskers. Wilson Thomas stepped in, weak side help. Oh my.
That is their first miss in their last 7 3-point shots. Miles tries to ply his way inside, and the foul called. Robinson was defending, and the foul goes on Robinson. Well, John, you've been in positions like this as a player. You were #1 many times at the University of Missouri in the early 80s. Down like this, how do you handle it on the road?
Well, the key is to stay patient and do what you do best. Move the basketball, share the ball, get more movement in the offensive end. I think Kansas standing around watching each other too often. When it goes to Gooden, not much movement.
Kansas unbeaten in conference play. Jeff Carey, a senior, gets it to go. And a foul called on Nebraska inside.
A very valuable player for Roy Williams Ball Club. Jeff Carey, 5th-year senior, can come in, provide solid minutes, and give Collison or Gooden a break at times.
He does it well on the floor and off the floor, too. He's engaged to a Kansas cheerleader. And the senior, Jeff Carey, who was fouled by Robinson, and now he's out of the game. He's got 4. So they bring in Brennan Clemens. He's out there with Muehlheisen and Thomas. And Cohorn gets the rebound. Under 13 to play in the second half.
And no turnovers in the first 7 minutes of this second half for Nebraska.
There's a Kansas foul. It's Gooden. Gooden picks up the foul. Wednesday on CBS, music's biggest night, the Grammy Awards. Join U2, Britney Spears, Alicia Keys, NSYNC, with Nelly, Dave Matthews Band, Janet Jackson, and more. Jon Stewart will host the Grammys live Wednesday here on CBS. And a timeout taken. The #1 ranked Kansas Jayhawks down in Lincoln, 67 to 57. Chance at least to share the Big 12 title. To win today, they win it outright. Putting them out of those hurdles.
Well, obviously, Nebraska had a hard time getting the ball inbounds. They've got to stay with it, be patient on the offensive end. Again, no turnovers. Kansas, I think Roy Williams wants his team defensively to step it up. They've got to get into this Nebraska team, challenge the shooters.
And no turnovers for Nebraska the last 13 minutes.
Wow, that's something against a very aggressive Kansas team.
Clemens rejected by Carey.
Offensive foul.
It was, and they put him on Clemens, who's coming off that career-high 23 against Texas A&M on Wednesday.
Good job defensively again. Langford, not his guy, sliding over to help from the weak side. We mentioned Clemens in the first half. Very aggressive penetrator, likes to go to the ring.
There's the freshman Miles into Gooden, the Player of the Year candidate, posted inside.
Gooden's got to keep it off the floor every time he puts it down. 3 Nebraska Cornhuskers are coming.
Clemens ripped the drive and a Kansas foul. Miles was there guarding him, and they put it on the freshman from Portland, Oregon. And Roy Williams has been #1 previous to this. We just saw the loss highlights he had by 10 out at UCLA earlier in the season. Can they hold on now? They are undefeated in conference play. #1 coming into Lincoln this afternoon, but down by 10 with almost 12 to play. On the RPI ratings, you see Kansas at the top of the heap. No surprise there. In the polls, Cincinnati is #4. And that otherwise, Maryland and Duke finished it out 2 and 3.
A big win Friday night. Cincinnati, Donald Little, the jumper at the buzzer to beat Marquette. Big win last night for Oklahoma, knocking off Texas at home.
Kansas has hit 2 threes. They're shooting 47% from the field. Boshi has one of those threes. Langford against Clemens with a fake. And a nice job.
I think the rest of this Kansas team outside of Gooden has to be more aggressive with the ball. Everybody's eyes are on Gooden trying to get him the ball. Nebraska is surrounding him defensively.
When you got the lead like Nebraska has, I know you got the cushion now. How don't you get too complacent?
Well, that kind of shot you don't need.
Right.
If you can turn the quarter, get it to the rim, but you don't want a running fadeaway.
Boshi for 3. Nails his second of the night.
Boy, he has had a memorable year as a senior. The game winner against Iowa State down the stretch. 2 big threes against Texas in the overtime. Always when they need a basket, Boshi in his senior season has delivered.
And Cohorn for 3. Missed everything. Gooden catches, and here comes Kansas the other way.
Good challenge by Brett Ballard.
Another 3 by an uncovered Jeff Boshi. Timeout, Nebraska. And the Jayhawks, the #1 team in the country, back in business. Down by 3. A capacity crowd here in the Devaney Center. Eyes of college basketball on #1 ranked Kansas taking on the Nebraska Cornhuskers in a 10-1 run for KU, helped by Jeff Boshi's 2 consecutive 3-point hits.
Puts him at number 308, the all-time Big 12 leader. 1 ahead of Clarence Gilbert, who had 12 for the University of Missouri yesterday in that 40-point output in their win over Colorado.
Sims back in the game. Robinson out there with Thomas. Highmarsh is back in for Nebraska. Clemens remains in.
Kansas
is on the bench.
Kansas has stepped it up a notch defensively. Really getting after the ball handle.
Robinson with the shot clock, and it rejected by Gooden. And Kansas is playing tennis at times with Nebraska's shots this afternoon. Their 7th block shot.
EA Sports coverage of the road to the Final Four is sponsored by Beechwood Age Budweiser, with a crisp, clean, and refreshing taste known only to the king of beers. Pacific Life, annuities, insurance, investments. Discover the power of Pacific Life. And by Open the Small Business Network. New tools for a small business economy from American Express.
We're in Lincoln, Nebraska with the Jayhawks down, the #1 ranked team in the country, 68-65, 7 seconds to shoot. After the timeout, Kansas has won 11 consecutive games coming into today.
7 seconds. Watch for the quick hit inside. They've got a guy open in the corner. Boshi found him, though.
Robinson for 3 over Carey.
Wow.
And now Nebraska, John Sunbolt has hit 15 three-point shots today.
Surprised that Kansas was allowed to be screened on that play.
Here's Carey, the senior, outside Boshi. He's hit 2 threes. A screen by Carey, another 3, and a rebound by Carey to keep it alive. Gooden. Into Thomas, weaving down the lane. What a play.
They'll give Jeff Carey probably an assist just because another offensive rebound kept it alive for this Kansas team.
Nebraska shooting 44%, Kansas shooting 50%. Another 3. Robinson fans. Gooden with the rebound. Kansas +3 in rebounding today.
And they are not making this Kansas team play defense very long on that end of the floor.
Gooden had a pass in a congested lane. They kick it back out. Boshi on Sims. And fouled as his hand was cocked and ready to fire. Well, Saturday we're back with another triple-header. Florida takes on Kentucky. North Carolina State at Wake Forest. Cal at Arizona. Oregon and UCLA, Providence, Notre Dame. For more, go to cbs.sportsline.com. America Online, keyword CBS Sportsline.
Yeah, UCLA, one of the dangerous ball clubs in this country. Yesterday, the big win over Stanford. Eric Collier making wholesale substitution in his ball club, but I don't think they can go with simply a one-pass shot because if Kansas doesn't have to play defense that long, you want to make them play 15, 20, 25 seconds.
Turek is back in for Nebraska. Cohorn, Robinson, Wilheisen.
And Jeff Carey kept that one alive also.
Gooden again. He's got a shot which will not go. Langford uncovered, flies in and gathers it in.
They are attacking on the offensive end. Nebraska has to do a better job of blocking out right now.
Heinrich on the sideline in foul trouble for Kansas with 4. And a foul called as Nebraska is trying to rotate the ball.
Well, the guys off the bench have been valuable for Roy Williams. Jeff Carey's kept them alive. Keith Langford, the freshman, gathers that one in and puts it in.
Gooden will check out with his 16 points. And Collison will check back in. #1 ranked Kansas with a chance to take a lead. They've trailed in this game by as many as 12 in this second half. It's Boshi, picked up by Cohorn, who has knocked down 6 three-point shots today for Nebraska. A school record 14 threes for the Cornhuskers. Langford with the miss, Turek with the rebound. With John Sunbolt, Kevin Harlan in Lincoln, Nebraska. And the Huskers have led most of the game.
Well, good patience now by Nebraska. They can run a set. Again, body movement, ball movement, get some screens, find their shooter.
Carey guarding Turek, who wheels inside. Carey with the rebound. Brett Ballard with Langford, Boshi, Collison, and Carey. It's lost inside. Another Kansas turnover. The lead for Cohorn saves it with Boshi on his heels. Conklin. Wilheisen for 3. And a Collison rebound.
Well, that is what's got them there. You know, they've gotten the lead by shooting threes, but I just think they have to be more patient. Kansas giving them opportunities, this Nebraska team, to try to build a lead. There, Barry Collier now stands up, sideline. And a number of assistants that they call plays from the side. A couple of decoys.
Carey knocked it away. And out of bounds off Kansas with 8:03 to play. They'll bring back in the freshman Miles and the junior Gooden, and leaving will be Brett Ballard and Carey, the senior, who gave him some great minutes off the bench.
And so did Brett Ballard on the defensive end. And Langford will go out also. You guys off the bench, good solid minutes to get this Kansas team back in this game.
Ryan Nash will check in for the second time in the game, first time in the second half for the Jayhawks. Robinson with Miles defending. Inside tapped by Conklin and saved. And the 6'11" young player will take it inside. Turek.
Good ball move. Make this Kansas team chase.
Robinson tries. Turek tries to tap it up. Out of bounds off Nebraska with 7:45 to play and a timeout taken. Nebraska's only scored 4 points in the last 6 minutes. Number 1 Kansas down by 1. We are back in Lincoln, Nebraska, the sold-out Devaney Center with John Sunvold. This is Kevin Harlan. Nebraska has hit a school record 15 3-point shots this afternoon. 15 of them, and thus they hold on to a 1-point lead. It has grown as large as 12. And what has Kansas done, John, to get back in this game?
Well, I think Kansas defensively has gotten back in, but one of the reasons, I think Nebraska, once you make a lot of threes, you kind of get happy and complacent that you just have to keep shooting those. If Nebraska continues to, on the offensive end, to work harder to get the shooters open, that worked in the first half, and they've got to continue that in the second half.
Cohorn is on Boshi. Robinson is on Miles. Conklin is guarding Gooden. He made a move down low and a Nebraska foul with 7:29 to play.
And I think if you're Kansas, continue to allow Gooden to get the ball inside. He's drawing double and triple teams. That will free up shooters. Now, you've got to free yourself up to find the openings. Gooden's got to be able to give it up.
Gooden scored 15 points in the first 5 minutes of the game.
He had 16 the first half, scoreless in his second half. But again, when he catches it, puts it down, there are 2 or 3 Nebraska Cornhuskers around him.
Miles to Langford. And Gooden's got it, but he's in a straitjacket down low. And Miles will drop. Tapped by Collison, but out of bounds off Kansas.
Nebraska has played a soft man-to-man defense. They will challenge Boshi because he's the shooter. The rest of the guys, they're just staying off them a little bit. Challenge if they go up to shoot it, but they're staying off, trying to close off the driving lanes.
Nebraska has a single timeout remaining. Kansas has 3. Here's Cohorn, who's picked up by Boshi. Turek. And Robinson got his defender to fall on a 3-point shot. Good again! And Nebraska has knocked down 16 3-point shots.
The 4th by John Robinson.
There's Boshi into Collison. Turek defending, may have gotten a hand on the ball.
Good defense. He stayed put, did not take the ball fake. Back to the offensive end, the hard move by John Robinson. Langford loses his footing, and young man has been on the money. 16 points in this ballgame, 4 of 8 from 3-point land.
Lawson's got 4 fouls. Heinrich is on the bench with 4 fouls. And they bring in the freshman Simeon. And Collison will leave, so it's Simeon, Boshi, Drew Gooden, Miles, and Langford out there for Kansas. Turek at the line.
Bonus points. 37% free throw shooter, so bonus point when you deliver.
1 of 5 from the free throw line this afternoon. 6.5 to play. Tapped out of bounds by Nebraska and Muehlhausen. So the lead is 5. It's been as large as 12 for the Nebraska Cornhuskers, who have not beaten Kansas since 1999.
Bob Devaney Center kind of awakening again.
Boshi with the Simeon screen for 3. Rebound Muehlhausen, and a foul called on Conklin in Nebraska. Tomorrow on CBS is Gold Medal Monday. Experience world-class comedy at its funniest with all new episodes of The King of Queens. Yes, dear, everybody loves Raymond and Becker. It's all here on CBS Gold Medal Monday. Gooden at the free throw line, where he's 2 of 2 this afternoon. Kansas, one of the top free throw shooting teams in the conference. And undefeated in conference play. Trying to become the first team in the brief history of the Big 12 to go undefeated in league play. In the Big 8 happened several times.
Well, last one to do it, Missouri 1994. In the Southwest Conference, Texas Tech in 1996. James Dickey Ball Club went undefeated 16-0 that year.
Turek, Robinson, Muehlhausen, Cohorn in there for Nebraska. Conklin also there, and he's at the top. And gets the pass. Robinson getting the screen. Another three.
Wow, good ball movement again.
Robinson cannot miss his 5th three-point shot. And now Nebraska with a 78-72 lead and the 2 by Gooden. He's got 20. Huskers by 4 with 5:40 to play.
The shots that this Nebraska team gets when they handle the ball for longer than 10 or 15 seconds. Big difference.
17 three-point hits for Nebraska today.
Langford trying to deny Robinson the ball. Got it now.
The drive this time down the lane, rejected by Gooden. His 3rd block and a foul called on Cohorn as Miles was trying to go the other way.
Well, John Robinson again, the step out. He's got a little bit of space, and that's all this Nebraska team needs when they catch. We've seen Gooden do this time and time again. The block from the weak side. Miles fouled, goes to the foul line.
Gooden with 22. You can see the blocks that Kansas has registered this afternoon. Miles at the strike, 72% free throw shooter. And brings top-ranked Kansas to within 3. Kansas from the free throw line today, 13 of 19. Nebraska, 9 of 17.
You see the numbers here in Miles, 6 assists. Only needs 4 more to break John Vaughn's freshman record. 2nd in the Big 12 in assists behind T.J. Ford. Outstanding freshman, 13th in the country in the assist department.
Miles will leave. Heinrich comes back in with 4 fouls. Paulson's got 4, and he's on the Kansas bench. Brett Ballard is in with Boshi, Gooden, Simeon, and Heinrich. Robinson out there for Nebraska. Turek, Conklin, Cohorn, and Muehlheisen with the pass to Cohorn. Nice pass to Turek inside.
Oh, what a finish.
And a foul on Kansas with 5:07 to play.
Good pass by Cohorn. A more spectacular finish by John Turek. Good pass, and watch the up and under. A little push from down low. There's the elbow in the back or the forearm in the back. And Turek back to the foul line.
Wayne Simeon picked up his 2nd personal foul. Nebraska again by 4 with 5 minutes to play. Heinrich to Gooden. And over Conklin. He's got 24.
And he wants it. Begging for the basketball. Interesting matchup. Heinrich with 4 fouls on Cohorn. Cohorn, the senior, very smart at drawing contact. He will ball fake, try to jump into you a little bit. Heinrich has to be careful.
Conklin inside to Turek. Now to Conklin with a Turek screen. Heinrich is on Cohorn. Inside the pass.
Oh, good hands. Turek wasn't looking.
Just barely
Still
caught.
stopped it.
Muehlheisen with a great crossover. And a block by Simeon inside the 8th for the Jayhawks. Heinrich to Ballard. A Gooden screen, the defense there, and Boshi open for 3 in the lead. Rebound by Turek. Nebraska with a 2-point lead and approaching 4 minutes to play in regulation.
Woo! Nebraska fans holding their breath. Jeff Boshi wide open. The shot that Kansas wants.
Nebraska has led for the last 12 minutes. Robinson, Cohorn for 3. And a rebound by Simeon.
Kansas team pushes and really makes you defend.
For the tie and a miss.
Oh, 2 in a row, in and out. What a pace.
What's Nebraska thinking here with the 2-point
Well,
lead?
they've been, again, more successful at certain sets at getting guys open for the shots, not when they rush down and just fire it up. A silly reach by Boshi right there.
Boshi picks up the foul. That's number 2 on him.
This time of the game, you do not want to make those reach-ins. Muehlheisen, the freshman, will go to the free throw line, 73% free throw shooter.
At the line shooting 2 shots, Muehlheisen.
Last Kansas loss was on CBS at UCLA January 12th when Kansas then was number 1. Here they're on the road again this afternoon, number 1 in the country and down most of the game. Now by 3, Jeff Carey will take the place of the freshman Wayne Simeon. Kansas plus 8 in rebounding, both teams in single digits in terms of turnovers. 9 for Kansas, 8 for Nebraska.
Young man's a good guy to build your program around for the future for Barry Collier.
The place is going crazy. There's our game reset with Nebraska leading #1 ranked Kansas 82-78.
Yeah, take a look at timeouts. Plenty left for Kansas, only one for Nebraska. Possession arrow to the Jayhawk team. Kansas on the offensive end, everything should go through Drew Gooden. Let him get touches, make Nebraska just defensively.
Kansas shooting 46%. Gooden is in, Carey is in, Heinrich with the ball, finding Gooden, picked up by Brian Conklin. Brett Ballard, guarded by Robinson. Oshie around Cohorn, into Gooden, shot clock at 17.
Good defense. Conklin staying on the floor, not buying any of the fakes from Drew Gooden.
Heinrich with the move. And a foul, and it won't count. Then he'll go to the free throw line. And now our CBS Sportsline stat of the game. 17 three-point hits for Nebraska, a school record. And no team has ever hit that many against a Kansas Jayhawk team. They've got but 4 three-point shots.
35 attempts. That's amazing.
The complete game stats at cbs.sportsline.com or America Online keyword CBS Sportsline with John Sunvold, Kevin Harlan. And the Rockin' Devaney Center in Lincoln. Heinrich makes it a three-point game, 82-79 with 3 minutes left.
Kevin, Nebraska with 1 turnover only in this second half. They handle the ball well, they pass the ball well, they have shot it extremely well. They've got to be patient again on that offensive end.
And John, what about their confidence?
Oh, it's high. It is sky high. Especially Robinson and Cohorn.
Robinson has hit 6 threes. Cohorn has hit 6 threes with a twirl inside, a rejection by Collison. 2.5 to play. A 3 could tie it for Kansas. Good. And a Nebraska foul. Tonight on 60 Minutes, still left to be judged at the Olympics, was the showering of gifts and cash on IOC officials a jailable offense or just a par for the course? Followed by Oscar winner Richard Dreyfuss and the education of Max Bickford. And then the Rosa Parks story tonight on CBS. Oshie with the hit. He's got 13 points. He is 2 of 3 from the free throw line. Kansas has scored 5, now 6 more points at the free throw line than Nebraska. And we've got a 1-point game.
Yeah, big possession for both ball clubs. Nebraska has got it. Nothing with the guards when they go to the hole except Muehlhausen.
Robinson picked up by Ballard. Cohorn picked up by Heinrich.
Remember, Heinrich with 4 personal fouls.
Muehlhausen.
Love the high screen and roll with Muehlhausen. See if he can take it. Doesn't do it.
Shot clock at 5. A 3 by Robinson. Oh! He's got 7. A mesmerizing performance by Robinson. It's a 4-point lead. Gooden inside. Back down to a 2-point game.
And how quickly this Kansas team converts and scores on the other end.
18 three-point shots by Nebraska. Looking for the upset over #1 Kansas. The #1 ranking for Roy Williams on the line. He has 11 consecutive wins coming into this afternoon. 17 straight regular season conference wins. Nebraska has led most of the game by as many as 12. Now by 2 with 1:43 to play.
Key to this Nebraska team, 3 guards on the floor. Muehlhausen, Cohorn, Robinson all handle the ball well. They're in the bonus for the free throw line. They all shoot the ball well.
Muehlhausen with it. Cohorn. Robinson trying to get free. He has scored Nebraska's last 24 points of the game.
Wow.
For Nebraska. Muehlhausen.
Shot clock down to 10.
Shot clock at 2. Robinson again. Almost banked it in. Rebound by Collison. And here comes Heinrich. Collison. 60 seconds left. Ballard for the tie.
The most unlikely of Kansas scores to put it up.
His first 2 points tie the game at 85.
What a big-time play by Brett Ballard, the senior. Heinrich will foul out.
He's gone with 5. You're right.
And he has had some fouls that have not been very smart on his part. That time chasing Cohorn around the screen. And the grab and the hold.
Heinrich with 14 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists.
And you put Kerry Cohorn, the third leading free throw shooter in the country, at the foul line.
Heinrich has not left. Langford, the freshman, will be put in his place.
Into the Jayhawks lineup, number 5, Keith Langford.
The first time Nebraska and Kansas met, early January, Kansas won by 39 points in Lawrence. Today, a completely different story. 18 3-point hits by the Huskers. Kansas has come back to tie, and then Cohorn puts Nebraska back on top by 1, 86-85.
This Cornhusker team, confident. You see Kerry's numbers, and these guys are just simply taking a ball, releasing, all net again.
2-point game, 45 seconds to play in regulation. Ballard is in.
Boshi has been the key shooter down the stretch for Kansas, coming off down screens for this ball club.
Langford for the lead. Oh! What a shot by Langford. He's got 7. Kansas by 1.
Spreading the floor, the high screen and roll, which Muehlheisen likes.
And the drive rejected by Collison.
What a stop on the defensive end. What a shot by the freshman Langford.
10 blocks now for Kansas this afternoon.
We're all eyes on Gooden, Collison, and Boshi, and Langford steps in and knocks into 3.
Timeout taken. Number 1 ranked Kansas on top for one of the few times in the second half over Nebraska. Nebraska down by 1. They've got the ball, trying to upset number 1 ranked Kansas. Kevin Harlan, John Sundvold, 20 seconds to play in regulation. You see the game reset. What's going on in that Nebraska huddle right now?
Well, they've got a full 20 seconds to play with. You don't have to rush a shot. You're in control. You're down 1. You've had Cohorn shooting the ball well with 22 points. Robinson with 22. Muehlheisen's a guy that can put it on the floor, get to the basket. They can draw contact. They can go to the foul line. I think Barry Collier's saying be patient, be poised. Let's set some good screens, find our shooter.
And for Kansas on defense.
Well, and they're going to want to challenge the shooters, and especially Cohorn and Robinson. If they catch, I think Roy Williams is saying make them put it on the floor, make them dribble, try to shoot over the top. If they go to the basket, Collison and Gooden have wiped away a number of shots.
10 blocks already today. Collison, Gooden out there. Heinrich is fouled out. Langford just hit the go-ahead 3-point shot. Ballard and Boshi out there. Robinson, Muehlheisen, Cohorn, Conklin out there for Nebraska, and Turek.
Langford playing right underneath the basket. Not guarding the inbounds man. Usually can find him open.
Conklin. Shot clock is off. Game clock is all that remains.
Good defense by Ballard, not allowing Robinson to catch.
The Nebraska timeout. We're down to 13.2. Can number 1 ranked Kansas hold on the road against Nebraska? Nebraska has led most of the game. Kansas has got a 3-point shot from a freshman from Fort Worth, Texas. And they've got the lead, 88-87. Nebraska's got the ball tonight on 60 Minutes. Still left to be judged at the Olympics was the showering of gifts and cash on IOC officials, a jailable offense or just par for the course, followed by Oscar winner Richard Dreyfuss and the education of Max Bickford. Then on the CBS Sunday movie, Rosa Parks' true life story has never been told until now. Oscar nominee Angela Bassett and Emmy winner Cicely Tyson star in the Rosa Parks story tonight here on CBS. Strategy still basically the same.
Yeah, surprise last time when Conklin had the ball, he bounced it into Turek. And again, Turek, 1 of 7 from the free throw line, really not the guy they want to go to. I still think it's got to be in Cohorn's hands, probably Muleheisen's hands. He's the one kind of that sets the table for the shooters. He can penetrate. He's got good size, good strength at 6'4", to take it in and then find the shooters as they're moving. I would expect Conklin, to set screens, free up some people. Turek to set a screen. Remember, Conklin is a 6'11" player, and so when Gooden or Collison go back to block a shot, Conklin might free up. First lead since second half.
Kansas has a timeout. Nebraska is out of timeouts. Conklin to inbound. Knocked away by Boshi.
Oh, what a play. Knocks some time off.
Picks it up. Robinson. Rebound, Turek. Can't put it back in. Kansas has stayed number one.
What a ball game. Great effort by this Cornhusker team. Wow. Great defensive play by Jeff Boshi, Kevin, to knock it down.
And the game-winning hit by Langford, the freshman, the Chevrolet MVP of the game for Kansas. Gooden with 26 for Nebraska. Kerry Cohorn with 22. Chevrolet will make a contribution to each school's general scholarship fund to reward outstanding students for their academic achievements and to assist those in financial need. Kansas 14-0 in conference play. They win the outright Big 12 title. Their 9th consecutive conference road win. Now for John Sunvold, Kevin Harlan saying so long from Lincoln, Nebraska. This has been a presentation of CBS Sports. Tonight on 60 Minutes. The Education of Max Bickford and the CBS Sunday Night Movie. Good night from Lincoln, Nebraska.
Court today, and the Hawks playing at Nebraska this afternoon with a shot at clinching the regular season crown. John Turek with a huge follow, and then Brian Conklin comes around the screen and he slams it. Tied in the first half at the break. Then Nebraska goes three-point crazy. That's Kerry Cohorn.
Nebraska has to stay.
This is Cohorn again from deep. And then in the corner, the results pretty much the same. John Robinson gets into the act, knocks it down the three, and then Cohorn again, right corner, fakes, knocks it down. Cohorn and Robinson both made 6 3-pointers. Nebraska goes up by a dozen. But late in the second half, Nebraska by 4. Drew Gooden made 11 of 23 field goals. Kansas within 2, and then 87-85. Freshman Keith Langford, the big-time 3-pointer, and Kansas goes up by a point. Under 10 seconds to go. Robinson with the pull-up jumper, it's no good. Turek misses the tap-in. Gooden comes down with the rebound, throws it up. When it comes down, Kansas wins. 88-87. KU survives 18 3-pointers by the Huskers. Beats Nebraska for the 7th straight time. 22 each for Cohorn and Robinson. Drew Gooden topped the Jayhawks with 26. Kansas plays Kansas State on Wednesday and closes the regular season next Sunday at Missouri.
Perfect in conference play, but the Huskers were ready for them. John Robinson the 3. Kerry Cochran another 3, 67-55, Nebraska leads. 2 minutes to go now. The Huskers lead down to 1. Robinson, another 3. Oh, what a money shot. Nebraska 18 of 37 from three-point range. Under a minute to go, Kansas down 2. Brett Ballard drives, hits the tough layup. We're tied at 85. Kansas down 2 after 2 Husker free throws. Keith Langford for the lead. And they're fired up on the KU bench, 88-87 Jayhawks. Here's your ball game now, 13.2 left. Nebraska almost turns it over, but they're going to get a good look here. Jeff Boshi knocks the ball away. Robinson collects it for the win. No good. Turek the tip, no good. Drew Gooden corrals it, and Kansas escapes. 88-87. Roy Williams can breathe easy now. Gooden led the way with 26. Robinson and Cochran 22 each for Nebraska. 88-87 the final. KU has won 12 straight overall since a loss to UCLA. They are trying to become the first team in Big 12 history to go through its conference schedule unbeaten. In fact, they have won a school record 18 straight regular season Big 12 games dating back to last year. KU 14-0 in Big 12 play.
In conference play, but Cornhuskers had a plan. John Robinson with a 3. He was 6 for 11 from 3. Kerry Cochran from 3, 22 points. Nebraska by 12. By 12 on Kansas. Later in the second half, Kansas down by 9. Jeff Boschee for 3. Kansas within 6. Next possession, Boschee 3 for 8 from 3. It's a 3-point game. He's fired up. Number 1 back in it. Robinson is back though from 3. Nebraska up by 6. Robinson had more than half their shots from 3-point range. Nebraska up by 3. Robinson from 3. As a team, 18 for 37 from 3. That's 49% with 37 shots. Robinson again. 6 for 12 from 3 by himself. Nebraska up 4. Under a minute to go. Brett Ballard drives. Gets it to go. It's tied up 85-85. Kansas fired up. Under 30 seconds to go. Keith Langford for 3. That's with Kirk Heinrich on the bench because he fouled out. Kansas by 1. Final seconds. Nebraska tries to get it to go. Robinson, no. The tip, no. And Kansas holds on. Keith Langford, 4-3 with Heinrich, the all-everything guard, on the bench, fouling out. Drew Gooden, 26 points, 14 rebounds. Nothing to give it on the road. This is a team Kansas beat by 39 at home earlier this year. Number 1 gets the win. Jayhawks clinched the Big 12 regular season title. They had already clinched the top seed in the conference tourney. Well, coming up inside this edition of Sports Center, how many switch-hitting catchers have a 400 on base as a starter for a 4-time defending league champ? Look at an underrated Yankee reporting for work. The Mavs loading up, but we've seen other teams stock the roster and ruin the team. And yes, no miracles this time, unless you're Canadian, and you're quite pleased. U.S. Hockey GM Craig Patrick joins us in Salt Lake City later, about 43 minutes away.
Also had Lakers Knicks Sunday afternoon. Seemed like a good idea when they drew it up, but so did the Hindenburg. And 1 week after winning his sport's biggest race, could Ward Burton keep rolling at the Rock? You are immersed in Sports Center.